Blame game.
Russia bears ultimate responsibility.
Russia and Ukraine point fingers after a missile hits a NATO ally. Pence in prime time.
There may be somebody else in that contest I'd prefer more, Jack.
Could the former VP compete with his old boss? And Miami taking on Toronto as the Heat try to break above 500 for the first time this season. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Kenya Cardone.
I'm Paloma Pimentel. Today is Thursday, 2022.
Live from the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Vigils for victims, memorials held overnight in both Idaho and Washington State for the 4 students who were found dead in an off-campus apartment over the weekend. Frustration from relatives and classmates this morning because there are no arrests and police have been tight-lipped about the investigation.
The FBI is now assisting, and many residents hope that this will help solve the case. It's a murder mystery that has the tight-knit community of Moscow on edge. The slaying of 4 University of Idaho students.
No one would have ever imagined something slightly like this could happen in Moscow, Idaho, in such a small town.
The bodies of Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Kaylee Goncalves were found Sunday night in a home off campus.
This crime and the loss of these young lives is just simply beyond comprehension.
During a press conference on Wednesday, police confirmed all 4 victims were killed with a knife and say there was no evidence of forced entry and the suspect is still on the loose.
We believe this was an isolated, targeted attack on our victims.
The gruesome homicides have many residents worried about their safety, and some students have even left campus.
A lot of them have been leaving. People are scared.
The victims' families are devastated and are calling on police to release more information. Autopsies are being performed on all 4 victims, and police hope that leads to more answers.
U.S. assessment this morning indicates that an explosion in Poland originated from Ukraine and was an accident, as CNN's Karen Saifa reports it may have been missiles launched to defend against Russian attacks.
World leaders calling for calm as investigations into the explosion that killed 2 people in eastern Poland near the Ukrainian border Tuesday get underway.
We have no indication that this was the result of a deliberate attack.
Initial assessments by the U.S. indicate the Russian-made missile likely originated in Ukraine, according to 2 officials. The Poland blast came amid an intense barrage of Russian air attacks across Ukraine, following Ukraine's recent battlefield success. A U.S. official tells CNN the Ukrainian military said it attempted to intercept a Russian missile near that location in the same time frame, but it's unclear if that missile was the one that struck Poland. The Polish president said the blast was likely an accident, and NATO Secretary General added Ukraine is not at fault.
Russia bears ultimate responsibility as it continues its illegal war against Ukraine.
The missile stoked fear of a Russian attack on NATO member Poland, anxiety that has momentarily assuaged, but underscores the situation's gravity.
The longer this war goes on, we will continue to be exposed to risks like this.
NATO allies resolving to bring an end to Russia's war.
Neither sheer force nor sham annexation attempts can defeat the determination of the Ukrainian people to live in a free and sovereign country.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Ukraine's president insisted yesterday that it wasn't his country's missile. President Biden disagrees, saying that's not the evidence.
Today, the House is set to change under a newly projected Republican majority. Republican Mike Garcia's win in California's 27th congressional district granted the last seat needed for the GOP to claim control over the House. Democrats have control over the Senate, leading to a split Congress.
Our plans in the works this morning for Mike Pence to challenge his old boss for the Republican nomination. The former vice president didn't reveal anything last night during his CNN town hall, but when he was asked about Donald Trump's candidacy, he was this to say.
There may be somebody else in that contest I'd prefer more, Jack.
Anyone in mind?
But I honestly believe we're going to have better choices.
Trump announced his candidacy in Mar-a-Lago on Tuesday.
Today, Donald Trump's eldest daughter made an expected personal announcement. Soon after her father's news of a third presidential run, Ivanka Trump formally bid farewell to politics. During her political era, she had a high-profile role as senior advisor to the former president, but this time she plans to focus on her young children and private life in Miami while sending her support to her father and siblings.
Max Strus from the Miami Heat is 7 inches shorter than Toronto center Christian Coloco, which makes what happened last night even more amazing.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
The squirrel had its face chewed off, and that mink was eating it.
What would happen if 40,000 mink got loose in a small town? Reality is sometimes stranger than fiction. Newsbreak will be back in just 2 minutes.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
If a natural disaster shows up at your doorstep, you can't just turn it away. That's why it's important to prepare for emergencies before they show up. Go to ready.gov/plan to find the tools and tips you need. And make a plan today.
You really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mink mayhem. Thousands of the rodents let loose, probably by activists, but what happens next is no laughing matter. A furry frenzy this morning for a small community as thousands of minks have been released into the wild.
Between 25,000 and 40,000 mink were left loose from their cages yesterday at Lion Farms USA near Toledo, Ohio. The animals may appear friendly, but they are a danger to wildlife.
The squirrel had its face chewed off, and that mink was eating it. If they survive, if they can feed themselves and stay warm with the winter upcoming, they are going to wreak havoc on, populations of the small game for sure.
Graffiti at the scene led investigators to blame a ground called the Animal Liberation Front. Police have given property owners the okay to trap or even shoot the minks because they can spread disease.
The Miami Heat making plays on the Toronto Raptors in last night's game. Although the Heat did not finish the game with a win, that did not stop Max Strus from adding to his highlight reel by slamming a 7-footer dunk on the Raptors in the second quarter. The final score was Heat 104, Raptors 112.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Paloma Pimentel.
And I'm Kenya Cardone. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.